things are tense. Powder keg, not a lot to set it off, Nick. Long-established leaders effectively turned traitor on them, feeding them, clothing them, giving them living expenses, having them jump over Irish people on the ladder for housing and school places in some cases.
What is happening on the Highland of Ireland?
Well, north, south, east, west, and slap bang in the middle. The governments, there's a government in Stormont in the north, and there's a government in the Republic or the south in the Dáil, and both of them are failing their people miserably, or collectively, the island of Ireland is being failed by its governments. And there's only so much people can take, Nick. They've been gaslit for a very, very long time. The standard of living is dropping. Many young people are having to leave, the lack of employment opportunities, lack of available housing, rental prices are going through the roof, cost of living's going through the roof. The whole infrastructure of the country is being shaken. And of course, there's this massive issue of contention that's becoming more contentious for more people, which is this issue of mass immigration, both legal and illegal. But starting off with the illegal aspect of it, it's resulted in a flooding of Ireland by mostly men coming in alone from who knows where, staying in what are called IPAS centres, or International Protection Accommodation Services centres, or refugee camps, or migrant hotels, flooding local communities, putting a huge strain on infrastructure. And let's just say there are many recorded incidents that we know of, attacks, horrible acts of violence on local men, local women, local children. People are asking questions. How can this be allowed to happen? How can our government allow this to happen unchecked at borders? Unknown people flooding into the country, billions of taxpayers' money every year, accommodating them, feeding them, clothing them, giving them living expenses, having them jump over Irish people on the ladder for housing and school places in some cases. So understandably, people aren't happy. But when you do that over a long period of time, tensions get very, very high, Nick, when you're being gaslit, ignored, and demonized by your government, called a racist, a fascist, a far-right agitator, a xenophobe. All that combined has resulted in us getting to the point we're at now. We're seeing huge protests on the streets of Dublin, of Cork. There's more lined up for the summer in Waterford, Galway, Belfast, rioting happening across the north, or the Northern Ireland 2 weeks ago, in many, many places. Just things are tense. Powder keg, not a lot to set it off, Nick.
Yes, I mean that's my interpretation of what's going on over there. We've had this in the UK, in mainland, all my life, since the Windrush, basically. But it's been drip, drip, drip. It's been like it's like being given poison a tiny bit at a time, and your body becomes used to it and gets more tolerant of that poison. And it's only recently, with the increases in mass migration in the UK, that people are beginning to go, oh, and the atrocities, bombs. I heard the Manchester Arena bomb go off. I lived around the corner. And then we had the killing of the three girls in Southport. It's only very recently people have started going, what's happening? But in Ireland, let's look at the Republic of Ireland. They fought a war with the British Empire and won and got their, independence, freedom. They wanted to be Irish, a land for the Irish people to celebrate Irish culture, Irish tradition, and be Irish. Then we look north of the border in Northern Ireland, which I've been many times. A different fight there between one set of Christians, another set of Christians, about what culture they wanted and what was important about their culture, their lifestyle, their traditions. And suddenly, both those sets of people have gone to, well, it seems like both those sets of people have gone to the world. Ireland doesn't matter anymore. Being Irish now doesn't matter. It's worthless. Why don't you all just come over here, because you make us feel pink and fluffy that we're helping the poor of the world? How we got from fighting violence for freedom to inviting the world and flooding the country? What happened there? I don't get it.
Well, interestingly, in Northern Ireland, you'll be aware that we had what were called the Troubles over here, the conflict that raged from pretty much 1969 right up until the 1994 up to 1998. 25 years, sectarian violence, murders, bombings, people being burnt out pretty much on a daily basis. I grew up in that background. That's not something anybody wanted to see, but it was sectarianism, and it was always pitted that it was Protestants versus Catholics. You're seeing a strange thing happening at this point in time where religion is being set to the side in the acknowledgement and realization that it doesn't matter what faith you practice or don't practice, this problem is affecting everybody and everybody's family and everybody's future. Okay. And the people in the past, for example, nationalist parties, especially in Northern Ireland or the north of Ireland, Sinn Féin, the SDLP, have almost become globalist. The old mantra over here from a nationalist or Republican party would have been Brits out, get the Brits out of Northern Ireland. It's the occupied six counties. That was always the mantra, seen it sprayed across many a gable wall of a house. Brits out. Well, nowadays, they still hold on to the Brits out mantra, but it's Eritreans, Somalians, Nigerians, Afghans, Albanians. They're all welcome in, but get the Brits out. So it's almost turned into a parody of itself, Nick, and many people from nationalist communities and areas are seeing their long established leaders effectively turn traitor on them and encouraging the flooding of the country by, in many cases, unknown people. There are people coming in legally. There are people working and paying their taxes as well, but we don't have the infrastructure. There aren't enough houses being built. There aren't enough affordable houses for young people. There aren't enough job opportunities for young Irish graduates. So they're leaving the country, which in turn sets up this spiral of people needing to be brought in to prop up the economy for overseas because the Irish people are leaving. So it's this vicious cycle that's got us to the point that we're at now. But people, the penny's beginning to drop. Maybe our enemies aren't our neighbours, our working class neighbours, Nick. Maybe our enemies are those people that sit on the houses on the hill and occupy positions in Parliament. Maybe they're the ones that are to blame for all this, not our next door neighbours.